What's up guys, welcome back to another episode in my Spider-Man Noir cosplay series. Today's episode we'll be working on both the vest and the sweater. Now there really isn't a lot of explaining to do in this video, it's mostly just me sewing. But even then, the fact that this video came out so short was a real surprise to me. It might be my shortest video, I'm not sure yet. But a little bit of footage was lost, like a lot of me transferring the template to the leather and then cutting that out, which is pretty self-explanatory, so I'm not too bummed about that. Expect another video out in the next few days. Hopefully I can get it before Halloween, at least the morning of Halloween. Let's just hurry up and get these videos over with. Make sure to follow me on Instagram. That's where I post a lot of updates and a lot of other side projects that I have, so make sure to follow me on there. Make sure to subscribe, leave a like, and that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll talk to you guys later. I'm gonna add a layer onto this. There's clearly a layer in between this leather and another piece of fabric that's for insulation that adds a bit of depth, like all of it's seen. I'm gonna use this. This is what is called smart foam. This was $8 on clearance at my hobby store. You can see how thick it is. I don't need it to be this thick, maybe just about that thick. So what I'm gonna do is split these layers. On the leather, I'm gonna spray it with this spray adhesive, and the fabric I'm gonna use on the underside of the leather is just some regular black t-shirts. I'm gonna test to make sure that this spray adhesive works and won't melt this foam. If it does work, I'm gonna go ahead and spray the back side here and then layer this on top of that. And then after that sets, I could cut out a piece of the undershirt and then just sew everything together. I'm gonna go ahead and skip this part for now just because this is gonna make that a little bit easier for me. What I'm gonna do is attach a zipper to the inside of this flap. I'm gonna try to sew it on the same line here. The other half is gonna be sewn on the inside flap that doesn't have any padding on it, just so that the front part isn't sticking out too much. This is gonna help keep the structure on the vest, so that way that there's not too much tension pulling on the buttons that are gonna be attached here, since they're not gonna be like real buttons, they're gonna be printed. And also, least likely for me, if I'm doing, you know, Spider-Man poses a lot, when Spider-Man poses, he's bent down, and that really causes a lot of tension on everything on the vest, especially since it doesn't stretch like the spandex would. So this is gonna help keep this from the threads just tearing off when I have this on and I do eventually pose with it. So I'm gonna keep this like about a ½ inch from the bottom. So here's my obstacles right now. I have to line this up with how I sewed it on this end, so that when I sew it, I can sew it directly on top of those threads. In order for me to do that, I'm gonna have to sew it while this part is on the bottom. How I'm gonna go about that is I have this little piece of thread, and you can see from the bottoms down here, I'm just sticking it through wherever on this end, through where I've already sewn it, and then sticking it through the zipper, and then going back under. So that way I could tie it off, and then those pieces of thread going all the way up is going to hold it together. That way it doesn't deviate too much from the line that I have. So I sewed that zipper into the best of my abilities. Now I've got to figure out where to attach the other part of the zipper to the bottom panel. We want this edge of the panel to reach the seam right here on the other side of the vest. So we're just gonna make sure and double check that this seam 29.7, 33.4, and then we're gonna have to subtract the width of the zipper there. That's how far out this way on this panel it's gonna go. Is about 3.5 centimeters. So 29.9 from the top this way, 26.2 from that way, and this will be the edge of the zipper. So here I have a template for the large collar that goes around the neck. You can see I put inches and centimeters, if y'all could read that. So this top part right here, this is cut in half. There's a seam down the middle, and what I want to do is layer another piece of leather on top of this. But I just drew this out just to make a visual for you guys. So this isn't a perfect square. None of these measurements match each other. So this bottom line here is going to be 9 inches. This top line here is going to be 5 inches. This top one here is going to be 9.5 inches, while this one here goes down to 5.5 inches. But also notice that it's not a right angle here. This one is a right angle, but over here I go back by 1/2 inch so that this pointed part sticks out more. So this is the top, this is the bottom, and then you can see I have a mirrored one over here, and they're not attached to each other, so that's what this space is, so that I can sew those two pieces together. What I want to do is add a metal wire into the collar so that way it keeps its shape. So what I'm going to do is I have another E6000 glue. I got the big boy this time. I'm going to put the wire framing on it. I'm going to put the E6000 glue only in the square. I'm not going to put any in the seam right here. That way when the pieces are glued on top, I could cut out one layer here and it'll be easier to sew it afterward. I'm also going to add a little bit of extra space down here so that way that this could be sewn onto the rest of the vest. This is the same wire that I used on the goggles for attaching the strap to them. I'm going to add some of the extra foam over the pieces so that way it pushes around the wire framing that I have. Okay, so the glue dried and I tried to sew one piece the way that I wanted to with the sewing machine, but it didn't really turn out the way I would have liked it to. Obviously, I think that's mostly due to my lack of experience and you know, just not being very good at it. So that one didn't turn out how I would want it, but it is a good example of like the wire framing going around there, just being able to bend to my will basically and keep its shape, and then this will go like halfway around the neck as well. So that piece failed, so I glued another piece here, and then on this piece I sewed it by hand. I actually really like that sewing by hand look, so I'm going to do this exact thing to this one here, and after that they'll be sewn together, and then they'll be sewed again, and then they'll be sewn onto the rest of the costume. Now what I'm going to do is cut all the holes here and then sew it by hand.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
So now I gotta attach the collar to the vest, and how it attaches is right on the corner here. But just to make sure, I'm gonna start it from the middle of the back and then make it go around. Just because I don't want one end to be on this corner here and then the other end to be an inch up if my measurements were wrong. So I'm gonna start from the middle back.
It sound right, boys.
So this is a template that I made for the elbow patch. It is 3.5 inches wide, 9 inches tall, a bunch of other measurements. I already scanned this and it will be posted, a link to that in the description. You also see over here on this bottom point here, I marked that that's where the elbow is. So you know, sometimes when you put the sweater on and then your arm, the arm is just twisted all over. So I just had it on for a bit to make sure that it was settled, that the elbow was where the elbow would always be. And my fridge turned off. I marked exactly where the elbow point is on there, so that's how I'm gonna line that up. And then on the sweater there's lines where the knitting is, and that's gonna help me line up these 2 points as well. Now the most difficult part of the whole thing is gonna be sewing this onto the sleeve. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make this first, and then after I'm done making this, then I'm gonna sew this onto the sweater sleeve. We're gonna sew it on this excess fabric that I have here. Also might add a little bit of the foam, the very thin layer of the foam that I use for the vest, just to make these sewn parts pop up a little more. So I'm just gonna transfer this onto the fabric that I'm gonna be using, and then sew it, and then we'll see what we get from there. So here is the vest and the sweater. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's really hot right now still in Texas, so I'm gonna try to get this outro done quickly. I didn't want to put the mask on just yet because I wanted to save that for the final reveal, since it'll be pretty much 50% of the costume. Next video should be out in the next few days, hopefully I can get that video out before, or at least the morning of Halloween. I mean, I'm not a professional at sewing at all, no matter what the medium is, but I'm really happy with how it turned out, especially the patches and also like their positioning and the way that they're lined up. So I'm really happy with that. The sweater did make a bit of a tighter fit on the vest, but I am working out more to try to get those deltoids in. So this is not gonna be a problem for too long. Yeah, with all my skill, I was able to pull this off, and I'm really proud of it. So if you have any questions about anything that happened in the video, or have any constructive criticism to help me become a better sewer, let me know in the comments below. If you have any questions as well, leave in the comment section. Make sure to like the video, share it with anyone you think that might be interested in this sort of stuff. And also, please don't forget to subscribe and follow me on Instagram. Now that this suit is almost done, I'm going to be able to work on more projects, and you'll be able to see all of them on there. So make sure to check that out. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. The next video should be me working on the belt pouches, the web shooters, and the gloves, some modifications to the boots that I have, and also I'm going to try to attempt to make some mirrored lenses to add on the goggles. This will be my first attempt at this, so I'm not sure how that's going to turn out, but follow along to see if I do succeed in this. And that's it. It's really hot. I'm going to get out of this thing, and thank you guys for watching again, and I'll talk to you guys in the next episode of whatever I do. Goodbye.